Hello everyone, my name's Craig and I'm going to show you how to paint this bulldog in watercolour today. So first I'm going to show you the paper that I used, which is this Fabriano number 5, which has 50% of cotton. With 50% cotton you're able to do all the techniques like different layers, lifting out the paint, etc. And I always use the same 3 brushes. This is a size 20 round brush. Then I've got a number 9, another round one, and final one, a little 00 right here. And you'll also need a spray bottle and some paper towel as well. So let's start then. Let me show you the process. So right here, just starting out with a wash of wet water directly over the bulldog, nowhere else. And yeah, just on the left half for now. I'm going to start with the colours on the left side of the body. So right now just mixing the lightest colour for the fur. And this is painting wet in wet. Just highlighting some of the lightest areas right here. There we go, because I'm painting wet on wet. The paint will gently kind of ease out on top of the head, which is what we want. We don't want a straight hard line. We need some soft colours right here. So I'm moving on to the right side of the face. Same process as before. Putting down a layer of clean water and painting on the top of it. And once that's done, just give everything a quick dry. Make sure it's absolutely bone dry before you move on to the next layer. There we go. Then with the next darkest colour, so same again, this is wet on wet again. So first I applied some clean water, then I'm going over the shadowed areas with a darker colour than before. And I'm avoiding the ears because they'll just be painted black, so no need to do that. And this going in with an even darker colour still, because the bulldog has lots of folds of skin, so the darker paint is going to suggest some kind of fold lines right there. And then moving on to the back area, again wet on wet, and I just put some paint into the back area of the dog. And again, I'm just using some darker colours here to suggest some fold lines in the fur, in the skin. And again, they shouldn't be hard lines, they should be smooth faded lines. Using the spray bottle to make the paint flow. Soften the edges. And there we go, and right here I'm just lifting away some of the paint where I want the lightest area to be. And then going in with another darker colour, some more shadow. There we go, same on the back area of the dog. You want some nice light and shade as well. So I'm just lifting some of the colour from the middle section to suggest the light. Add in some more dark for another roll of skin. And right here I was thinking to myself that it wasn't looking too good, you know, and the leg itself could be painted better, but I continued. So if that happens, if you don't think it's going well, continue anyway, because the main focus is going to be on the face rather than the paw. So I decided to carry on regardless and see how it turned out. So right here then, just going for the paw itself, putting in some paint to suggest some of the shade again, right there. Give it a dry. Then obviously going with the strongest, this is a lunar black, just painting the inside of the paws. And then for the nails I chose like a purple colour, which won't stand out too much against the black. Yeah, right there, I wasn't too happy with the colour, so just painted an extra layer of different colours right there. Tried to make it smooth as well, so that was wet in wet again. Same up here as well. Everything needed to be a bit darker, a bit stronger, to suggest the shaded areas over the light areas. So again, I just applied another layer of colour, a darker colour, over the first one. And the same thing on the back. And then I moved on to the ears. So I applied some wet water on the edge of the ear. You can see here, because I've applied that water, the paint has a nice soft edge. Quite a random edge as well, which is what you need to transition between the ear and the fur on the head. But the outside of the ear that I'm painting right now is going to have a hard edge, so I didn't put any water on the left edge of the ear, only on the right side where it meets the head. There we go, so a nice strong lunar black for the ear. And then I'm just lifting out some of the paint while it's still wet at this point. So I'm going in with a damp brush, lifting out some of the paint where there are bits of light inside the ear. There we go. So with that done, again, just give everything a dry. Basically after each layer, I always dry after every layer that I do. And then same again, just coming in with a small brush this time on top of the ear where the light is hitting from above. So that's a damp brush, and then I'm just lifting out the paint with the paper towel. Same process here, so some of the black paint went onto the page and I wanted to lift that out, so I've just used a damp brush and then lifting out the paint from the paper with the paper towel. And then onto the head itself. So this is a wet wash of clean water, but I'm only applying this to the left hand side. And then I'm coming in with the lightest colour for the face right here. And I'm not painting over the eye. I'm going to leave that till after I've done the face. There we go, using the spray bottle, and you've just seen it creates a nice smooth edge for the paint. And then lifting out a highlight over the eye and on the face right here. Then it needed a bit more colour, a bit more pigment. So this is just a second layer of the same colour of paint. And like I said, giving it another dry right here after this layer. And then around the eye is always darker. So right here I'm just going over the area above the eye with a darker colour, and that'll give the eye some more definition as well, making the edge nice and smooth with a damp brush. There we go. So at this point the colour of the face was too light, so I'm just giving it another going over with a darker colour, and as you can see, definitely works better. The rolls of the skin look more evident after applying this darker colour. And then just smoothing everything out again. With the bulldog, like this, the fur is quite smooth. So basically, yeah, I was aiming for like a velvety type fur, keeping everything nice and smooth. Dry it again. And since I made the fur darker, that means I had to come back in and make the eye darker also. And there we go. I'm using my spray bottle again so that the edge of the eye blends nicely into the layer of fur beneath. No hard edges. And then I'm moving on to the eye itself. So we've like a pinky colour, a pink red for the eyes of a bulldog. I apply that before I go to the pupil, which I'm painting next. So this is just straight black, leaving some areas of white where the light would hit on the eyes. There we go. So now it's starting to look more like a bulldog now, once the eye's been put in. Looking pretty nice. So literally same process on the right side. So I applied some water on the left side of the ear where I wanted a smooth edge, but the right side without any water is going to have the hard edge. And again, same again, just lifting out some of the paint where I want the highlights to be. So this is a damp brush to lift out that paint. And this next bit is also wet on wet. So there's a layer of water on the paper right here. So I'm just starting off like I did on the other side, with the leg and the paw first before I do the face. Putting in a mixture of different colours on this side, because this side wasn't as detailed, wasn't as defined, so you can be looser with the paint. Then same as we did on the left hand side of the face, just applied a layer of fresh water, and then coming in with my lightest colour over the top, using the spray bottle to give everything a nice smooth edge, no hard lines, and then lifting out some of the highlights. And then coming in with a slightly darker colour, as we did on the left hand side again, just to highlight some light and shadow. Try and give the effect of the rolls of skin on the face that a bulldog would have. And then lifting out the top area over the eye as well, like I did before, making sure everything's nice and smooth all the time. And then another dry, of course. And then again, just giving the eye some more definition. So above the pupil itself, we've got a fold of skin that would be darker, so I'm going with a darker colour over the top of the eye. And then an even darker colour still for the outline of the eye. Not much to say really at this point. So defining this eye took me about 5 minutes. It felt more difficult than the left eye because the shape was different. So I was looking at the reference photo, trying to work out where everything would be. Literally just building up using different darknesses of paint right here. Again, making sure everything blends together nicely though as well. So even around the eyes, I didn't want any hard edges. I wanted everything to be nice and smooth. So the shape's coming together on the eye now. Just needed another layer down here at the bottom, just above the mouth area. Get some shadow on that bit. Blending there, blending everything together, smoothing everything out. Bit more shadow down there. And on the top, I think I added some more brown paint quickly. Yeah, I just needed a bit more fur, more colour on the fur over here, just to be more symmetrical. And then I start on the eye itself. So this inside of the eye is the same colour, just a very, very watery red for the inside of the eye. And then a darker version of the same red to add some shadow on this bit. And then I start on the pupil itself. Same as before, just leaving some tiny specks of white paper to suggest some light reflecting on the eye. So with the eye done, yeah, I felt like this side of the face needed some darker colour because the shadows, the definition of the skin folds wasn't so good, so I just came in with a stronger colour. This was a brown and blue mix. Yeah, so that strong colour just gives more definition to the face right there. More 3D. And then just lifting out some of the light areas again with a damp brush. Add in some more definition, a bit more detail. A few drops of dark paint on the skin folds. So then coming in with a light grey, just to suggest some shadow on the forehead. And then I'm just moving on to the paws right here, putting in my Lunar Black on the paws. Too happy with the colour of the bulldog. It looked more like a pug at this point. So I decided to go in with a nice kind of a warm orange type colour and put a wash over the whole thing, basically, where I have the dark colours. I applied this layer of orange just to make it look more like a bulldog. Then I'm just putting some water, fresh water here on these parts, and I'm going to apply some light colours on the back just to define the back of the body itself. Nice and wet. Just drop in some darker colour at each side. Make everything smooth again. And then onto the mouth, okay. So again, I'm just using fresh water here. And I'm going to drop in some very, very watery black and pink for the flesh of the mouth, just to give some shadow areas. So again, this bit had to be wet on wet for everything to kind of blend together. Coming in with the pink right here. And the bottom of the mouth will be the darkest. So this one is a darker pink. Bit more black on these areas. Then onto the nose. So this recording bit is in real time, just to show you guys what I did. So I went nice and slowly around the nose. Just to try and make it symmetrical. Okay. But you can see below the nose the paper was wet, and that's why the paint is blending outwards. But it was too light, so the paint was too watery, not enough pigment. So you'll see in a second, I literally go over this a couple of times with a more pigmented mixture. Here we go, make everything darker. So when the paint's wet, obviously it's going to dry a lot lighter. So I needed a couple of layers at least to get the darkness that I wanted. Some more dark pink at the bottom. And even more black paint. Make sure it's dry. So yeah, I wasn't happy. It still needs to be even darker. So this time the paper's completely dry, and I'm just going in with a stronger black while the paper's dry. Then I'll use a spray bottle. And I'm just going to spray the paint itself right there, and you'll see everything blend. Makes the paint dry smoother. So I'm going to use the same trick that I have in another video, a capybara that I painted. So basically, if I use the hairdryer at the same time as applying the paint, it's going to dry faster and therefore darker. So you can't see because my hand's covering what I'm doing. Oh, here we go. So I'm literally just dropping in some black paint while the paper is still wet, but I'm using the hairdryer at the same time, and that way my paint will blend together and also it'll be darker as well. So with everything dry then, just I'm going to do the rolls on the mouth this time. So this is just fresh, clean water, because I don't want the lines right here. I want them to be very, very smooth, very subtle. So it has to be wet on wet. So just coming in with kind of a mid-grey in certain places, just dabbing in some grey, giving the mouth more texture. So the paper had dried over here on this side. So basically every time that I apply the paint, I'm also just going in with a wet brush as well. That way everything gets blended smoothly. Then again, just applying some wet water right here. Getting my 00 brush, the smallest brush, and I'm going to do some lines on the mouth. So this bit was quite tricky to get the shape right of these lines. Just trying to soften the edges as well, because they were really kind of subtle lines on the face, so everything had to be smooth. Applying some darker shade there to get a shadow. Exactly the same process with these lines as well. And then same on the other side, so starting off with a layer of wet water, getting my 00 brush, going for the outlines where the shadows would be on the mouth. Just dropping in some pink as well for the fleshy areas. And then right here, I needed to define some of the face actually. I painted it wrong, it's the wrong shape. So this is a damp brush, and I'm just painting over where I want the paint to be lifted out, then using the paper towel to lift out the paint, and you can see that the edge has changed. So it's now a completely different shape right there. It just adds an extra layer of the depth. And then going in with a stronger colour where the shadow would be, right here. Smoothing the paint out, same as before. And then the background, well, the floor actually. So the dog went well, but the floor didn't go as well as I had hoped. So this is just literally a light wash, a watery wash of a bluey grey for the floor. Then I just dropped in a darker mixture of the same colour for the shadow areas, let everything mix together. And there we go, so give everything a dry. And that's it, bulldog finished. So there are some things that I'll probably change, like the paws. I'll probably add some more detail on the paws. Try and improve the floor, the ground. But overall, pretty pleased with this one. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a comment if you have any, and hopefully see you guys again on the next one.